Composition and framing. Take a few moments to study the following black and white photographs. They have something in common in terms of framing and composition. Your intuitive creative awareness may have spotted that this was shot using the rule of thirds. In other words, there are 4 key intersections within a grid of 9 squares where you can place your subject to make it an important feature of the composition. Rules can be broken. You can also split the image and have 50-50 and dead center positioning. Point is, it's a guide. If you were shooting for Instagram, you'd be working to a square proportion, so you'd have 9 squares in which to compose. Here, the lock and key sign and the wall plate sit comfortably within those sorts of guideline areas. And here, the strong diagonal between the paw and the lion's face give you a direction in which to travel across the photograph. Here, very obviously, the man is walking into the frame and is placed correctly at the intersection of these squares. And as I race up the stairs, I too intersect at the correct position. Here, horizontal lines for the trees, the wall and the cart in the front fit the composition. So if we go back through some of those earlier examples, you can now see how the rule of thirds applies. And speaking of guides, on your camera on the iPhone, you'll see that you have this grid already there for you to compose your image. So if we wanted to photograph this wooden fish, this time making use of a strong diagonal composition, then you can use those grid lines to get your alignment sorted out. I'm just quickly sorting out the brightness on this photograph here. Once I'm happy with that exposure, I'll press the button and take the picture. Now, another way of working with this iPhone camera would be to perhaps position the fish across the full width of the shot. So I'll look down from above. And a useful tool on the interface of the iPhone is that little crosshair you see in the center. When it aligns up, one above the other, you'll know you're truly parallel to your subject and you can take the picture. When you're documenting your work, therefore, try and put into practice this idea of rule of thirds and cropping. Go in much closer than you might have expected to emphasize the main point of your photograph. Don't mess around, be direct. Here on this landscape photograph, I'm just going to make some adjustments using the perspective control to firstly bring those pillars into the vertical position and then to look at the horizon line and get that level. And as I'm photographing the North Sea, finding that level horizon is quite easy. The next thing that I would need to be looking at in a photograph is eliminating by cropping areas of the photograph that serve no real purpose, but by doing this tight cropping we can actually strengthen and increase the chances of the message, the visual message, being seen very clearly by the observer of your photograph. And perhaps that's the secret to take with you, really, that cropping in framing and composition is a powerful tool that you can use to make sure that you do get your message across to your viewer. There's the final photograph. Okay, so don't worry too much, just keep taking lots of photographs. It will come naturally. You're creatives and you will appreciate the power and the ability to compose a photograph. Most importantly of all, keep shooting and have fun.